Hi, I'm Asia Matz with the Evansville-Vanderburgh School Corporation's Community Link. We would like to dedicate our first episode of the year to the people at WNIN that make this show possible.
The EVSC Community Link was created 7 years ago as a joint project with the Evansville-Vanderburgh School Corporation and Bosse High School. However, this project could have never made it off the ground without the astounding help from WNIN, Evansville's PBS affiliate.
To start, we'll be meeting with Cameron Kinser, a young director and producer who was nominated for 2 Emmys before he turned 19.
My name is Cameron Kinser, and I'm a TV producer-director at WNIN. Since we are such a small station in a small market, everybody kind of does everybody's job. So my main title is TV producer-director, so I will go out, shoot maybe underwriting spots, create new content, new shows. But there are times when, I have to know how to reset our switcher, which controls all of our programming, or, throw up a quick bug or, lower third, something like that the engineers usually do, but I have to learn how to do it because, being such a small station, we have a small staff. So I do a little bit of everything. I had done in high school, I had done video announcements, which were, our version of the TV program, and I liked it. My heart was still audio when I went to college. It wasn't until I had shot a couple video pieces that I knew, hey, this is what I want to do. I really like this. And that's when I thought, television is for me. This is what I want to make my career out of. As far as public television, I knew that that's what I wanted to do after working at WIPB, seeing what a difference that small station was making in people's lives. I knew that I wanted to do something where I could change people's lives with, my job. So when I graduated, I kept looking for job postings with the Center for Public Broadcasting, which is one of our major funders, and they have a job board. And one day I just happened to come across a posting that said producer-director at WNIN, not knowing where WNIN was. I immediately sent an email out with my resume and said, hey, would you even consider me for this job? And I got a reply back saying, yeah, here, send this to the TV operations director or vice president operations, and sent her an email, got a reply back later that day, did a phone interview, came in for an interview, and then ended up here at WNIN, which conveniently enough was 3.5 hours away from where I lived, still in the same state, which was pretty nice. I've only been here at WNIN for a short period of time, around 3 months, but in that short period of time, I've managed to, my main project has been giving the station a graphics overhaul with our look on air. So anytime you see any of the, as we call it, the bubble themes, those were all my making or my doing. As well as that, I've been working on the production of a new television series, a pilot for it, which we're hoping is going to be airing sometime mid-January. I've been nominated for 4 Emmys. 3 of those were in conjunction with a television show that I produced called Connections Live. It was a half-hour magazine format television show for WIPB in East Central Indiana. 2 of them were for my role as the executive producer of the show, and one was for a piece that I did called Forging Friendships, which was a story of 2 high school kids who forged metal into swords and other weird things, and that got nominated. The 4th Emmy that I was nominated for was for a project that I did called State of Assault, which was a half-hour documentary that took a victim perspective look at sexual assault survivors and the process that they went through from the actual assault through the evidence collection all the way up through the judicial process, and the problems that they faced, not only from the assault, but the problems that they faced throughout the entire process. So that was what I was nominated for the 4th time. I feel like my biggest accomplishment, honestly, is it was when I was back at WIPB, which is where I was before this, the PBS affiliate up in Muncie, producing a show called Connections. And I was doing calling someone to set up an interview, and the woman said, "Oh yeah, I love your show. I watch it. I've learned so many things from your show." Just knowing that someone out there watched something that I did and got something from it, that's probably one of the best highlights of my career. The Emmy nominations are nice. I mean, they look great on a resume and they're great for when you're trying to find a job, but the biggest accomplishment for me was, knowing that I affected someone else's life. Yeah, a lot of people, when I go out on shoots, they say, "Oh, so you must be the new intern." No, I'm full-time staff. A lot of people they say, you have what title and you're how old? Being only 22, it's definitely been one of those things people look at you and they go, "Really?" But, which I guess it does, kind of make me feel like I've done a lot with, for the age that I am. But at the same time, I mean, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I set that as a goal, and I did everything that I could, through college to achieve that. I honestly don't know where I see myself in the future, because working in television, it's such an uncertain field. People are always moving around. Things are always changing. I just know that what I do, I want to be able to look back and say, did I help somebody? Did I make a difference in someone's life? And if I did that, then I feel like I've, done my job, and I'll be happy.
What I found from the students with Community Link is that they're so remarkably prepared to deal with those stressful challenges. To get video in 2 minutes before the start of a newscast, get it into our computer system, edit it just so it makes sense to go with the words that we're using for that story, and then get it on the air just 2 minutes later. That's an unbelievable challenge and very stressful, but they're able to do that consistently. Students that have gone through the Community Link program are able to come into our newsroom and work very successfully. We can also count on them to do the job and things beyond what their normal job might be. I've been so impressed with the students from Community Link, and I think their ability to go through this program and have their work shown on WNIN, it's a treasure for our community for this program to be available for kids and then shown to the tri-state on WNIN.
The partnership with WNIN and EVSC for this Bosse High School Community Link is absolutely essential. What happens here is that these young people have a chance to create a real authentic learning product for this platform that is WNIN, that is distributed to the entire WNIN viewing area. Again, it's a real professional situation for these young people.
WNIN, Channel 9, is not a commercial station. They're a public television station, okay? You won't see commercials on WNIN. What you will see, and for the 7th year running, is the EVSC Community Link, a television program created by you guys, in which you guys are the writers, the talent, the editors, and the producers for all different kinds of formats, from Bunny the Elephant to Indianapolis Motor Speedway to the Ronald McDonald's House. And without WNIN support, we wouldn't have a showplace for your work. So thank you, Channel 9 WNIN.
Wayne Aldrich has worked here at WNIN for 30 years off and on. He's had his hands in both public broadcasting and with broadcasting affiliates. Today we got the unique opportunity to talk to him about the changes he's seen over the past 30 years.
Hi, I'm Ed Foose, a junior at Bosse High School, and joining me today is Wayne Aldrich, a producer and director here at WNIN. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for asking me to be here, Ed.
Oh, thanks. What exactly do you do? What's your job like?
As a producer director here at WNIN, some days I may come in thinking I'm going to do one thing and do something completely different. A producer is the person who will look at the idea for the program, the show, see what the needs are, see what stories are going to be told within the program, see what pieces are needed to tell the story, and gathers them all together and sees the project from its inception as an idea to its conclusion as an edited or aired program. The director is the person who will take all those ideas, everything that the producer has gathered up, and work together with those pieces to create the program itself. To put it in an analogy, the producer gets all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together, and then the director takes the pieces and makes the picture out of the puzzle pieces.
So what are some of the pieces that you would have produced that our viewers would have seen?
I produced the Shively and Shoulders program. I wasn't the original producer, but through time, I became the producer of Shively and Shoulders with local attorneys Les Shively and Pat Shoulders, who basically do a political banter back and forth. Pat retired. That show morphed into Primetime 9 with Les Shively by himself, which became more of a community affairs program. I produced Answering the Call. I think I may be proudest of Answering the Call because I had a chance to talk firsthand to many local veterans and have them tell me the story of what their life was like during that time. A lot of times their children would bring these veterans in, and they would sit in here during the interviews, and after it was over, their kids would say, "How in the world did you ever get Dad to say this? I've known him all my life, and he's never opened up and told us these stories." And I just feel proud that I had the opportunity and made them comfortable enough to want to tell their story.
So how did you originally get involved in the television industry?
I became really interested in it, I guess, my junior year in high school. I was in 4-H, and I was asked to become one of the hosts of a television show called 4-H in Action, and that was taped actually next door to where we're sitting right now. At that time it was ABC 7, it's now Fox 7, so I was the host on this weekly program. In the studio over there, there was a man named Joe Sassy. Joe Sassy was a very interesting person. There was 3 cameras down there, but Joe was the only camera operator. And he'd put on his headsets and just roam between the cameras, adjusting his shots. And I always thought he was an interesting character, and I talked to him a lot. And so I kind of thought that I would like to go into television then.
So since you've started in television, how have you seen the industry change?
Well, in the mid-70s, when I first started in the business, the news gathering at that time, some of it was still done on film. Now, it was on its way out at that time, but some of it was still done on film. When I first started at WNIN, we were recording on what was called quad videotape. It was 4-track tape, but the tape was 2 inches wide in reels. These reels were this big around, and they would come in 30s, 60s, or 90s. These 90-minute reels were just heavy boat anchors, so if you were gathering programs for the day, you're carrying these cases of tape, you really wore yourself out. We've come a long way since then. Now, we take out a camera, we put a card in the side and hit record. We still do use some digital tape cameras, but in this day and age, a lot of it goes right to a card, and then that's put into your editor and ingested from there. So we've gone from 90 minutes on something that weighs 35 pounds to 90 minutes on something you could fit in your wallet.
As far as production technique, has that changed significantly?
When I first went to college, you were taught, very static shots and a lot of cuts. I guess with the MTV generation, camera movements have become much more fluid. There are some things that I see today, if 10 years ago even, if I would have shown them my work, my supervisors would have said, "What are you doing? Where'd you learn how to do this? You know, this isn't worth anything." Whereas today, where you see a lot of camera movements and swoops, you know, that's accepted, and it makes a much more fluid, a much more naturally looking piece. It's true that you have to keep in mind some basics, you know, as far as composition of shots, but how those shots are composed within that movement has changed.
So when you get here in the morning, what's your day like on an average?
Working in television that's non-for-profit, you have to wear a lot of hats. You have to be flexible enough to either come down here and build a set, light a set, then go upstairs and direct the program, or get on the phone and make all the connections that you need to put together to have your programs. You have to be flexible enough to know that maybe this morning I'm doing a segment for one program and I'm in a pig yard in Princeton, Indiana, and then in the afternoon I'm at the airport shooting footage of the governor coming to town.
Well, thank you for joining us today, and thank you for all that you've done with WNIN and with the Community Link.
You're very welcome, Ed. It's a pleasure to work with the kids, and one of my things to do when I'm at home and I'm surfing the channels, whenever I see a Link program, I'll stop and watch it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For the EVSC Community Link, reporting from WNIN Studios, I'm Ed Foose.
As one of the instructors for the EVSC Community Link, WNIN has not only given us a venue to show our student work, but they've also been very supportive. Besides screening our programs with members of the EVSC administrative team, they've also conducted workshops on lighting, camera usage, and scripting. As a parent of 3 young children, I really appreciate being able to turn on my television and know that my kids are watching entertaining educational programs like Sesame Street, The Electric Company, Fetch with Ruff Ruffman, and Cyber Chase. Thank you, WNIN, for all that you do for my community.
I was given the unique opportunity to sit down with Bonnie Reinhart to discuss her passion that she feels about public broadcasting.
My name is Bonnie Reinhart, and I'm Vice President of TV Programming and Operations here at WNIN. I've worked here at WNIN for 25 years now. I actually started out in commercial television and then had the opportunity to come to WNIN and work for public television. My degree actually is in business administration. It was not my goal at a younger age to get a job in television, but since it was the first full-time job I had out of school, I really enjoyed it. And then when I made the move to public television in WNIN, well, 25 years later, I guess you can say I still enjoy it. I really enjoy working for public television because we get the chance to serve the community. And that's not something that everyone can say, especially everyone that works in television. We have many programs and services that we provide not only to our viewers but to other people in the tri-state area, and we get the wonderful opportunity to work with so many different partners here in public television. So it's a job that really touches my heart and is very meaningful to me, and I enjoy it tremendously. I have many responsibilities here at Channel 9 and WNIN. Because we're public TV and we're nonprofit, we get the opportunity to dabble in all kinds of things in our jobs, and that's great. I get to oversee the operations and the programming for the channels, and of course now with the advent of digital television, we have multiple channels that need programming. I also get to oversee the production, the local production that we do, and do many other things. A typical day for me is can be programming, creating programming schedules for our TV stations. It could be working on actually producing programming. I do a lot of reports. I get to answer viewer calls and viewer emails, which is always enjoyable, and I get to work with a great staff here at WNIN. There are times when, because of vacations or holidays, that we get a little shorthanded with things. So every now and then I get to do something really fun, like run camera, which I got to do last week because everybody was on vacation, and I really enjoyed that. I have produced several programs while I've been here, although that's not really my main responsibility. It's something that I've learned a lot about and enjoy doing. In the past couple years, I've produced a series called Beyond the Clouds, which consisted of 4 career-type educational videos about different careers in aviation. I have a long history of producing many election specials here at WNIN, including forums and debates, and most recently helped produce the Alzheimer's Forum that aired on WNIN. I've been able to oversee a new series that we're starting very soon. That's been enjoyable. Working here at WNIN for public television has been great. The people here are fantastic. The people we work with in the community are fantastic. It's a great environment, and of course we have this beautiful building now in downtown Evansville, the historic Carpenter building that we get to work out of. As you know, WNIN public television is public supported, and the majority of our income actually comes from people who watch WNIN and feel so strongly about the programming that they make that effort to send us a check. It may be a check for $20 a year, or it might be a check for $500 a year. And that's how we are supported, and that's how we can help continue to support the community with our many programs and our services. And fortunately, we're able to do quite a bit because the public here in the tri-state area enjoys our services and our programs, and they're very generous. Right before the holidays, it was a pretty nasty day outside. I think it was raining pretty heavily. It was late in the day, and a lady came in with her 2 kids. She had watched one of our pledge drives where we go on the air and we encourage people to become a member of WNIN through their support. And she felt so strongly about it, and her children felt so strongly because they enjoyed Sesame Street and Barney and all of the other kids programs, that she actually drove her kids here to the station in the rain from, I believe it was Princeton, Indiana, so it was a pretty long drive, because her kids felt so strongly about making that donation in person. Well, we saw them come in, and everybody gathered around and was so impressed that the kids wanted to make that donation in person. And we all went to our offices real quick and tried to find little souvenirs that we could give the kids as a thank you. For example, I had a stuffed Clifford dog in my office, and I gave that to them. And it was very heartfelt and very meaningful, not only for her and her kids, but for us too.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank WNIN for its many years of support that they have provided to all the students of this community who are involved in the Community Link program. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to provide students with real life experiences in the arenas of broadcasting. Again, on behalf of Bosse High School and the Community Link, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank WNIN for its support of EVSC Community Link. It's a wonderful program, educational program for the young people at Bosse High School, but it also helps add to the wonderful programming that is offered at WNIN.
We here at the EVSC Community Link would like to give a big thank you to WNIN for help making our show possible. Reporting for the Evansville-Vanderburgh School Corporation Community Link, I'm Asia Matz.
This has been a Bulldog production.